سلام خدمت همه شما دوستداران فرهنگ و هنر. در این ویدیو یک گزارشی میخواستم از اوپنینگ یک گالری با هنرمندی آقای جیم به خدمتتون ارائه بدم که در آیلند هاوس مرسر آیلند ایالت واشنگتن آمریکا برگزار شده. اجازه بدین ابتدا یک نگاه کلی به آثار هنری ارائه شده بندازیم و پس از اون من مصاحبه کوتاهی با آقای جیم همسرشون و در واقع مدیریت این گالری دارم که خدمتتون ارائه میدم. این گالری تا پایان جولای برپا هست و انشاءالله از ابتدای جون من نیز در این گالری نمایشگاهی خواهم داشت که حتما از قبل براتون اطلاع رسانی خواهم کرد. حدود 20 اثر بسته به اندازه های آثار هنری میشه در این گالری نمایش داده بشه که من سعی میکنم آثاری با توجه به فرهنگ و هنر ایرانی تهیه کنم که بتونم مخاطبان آمریکایی و خارجی رو با فرهنگ و هنر ایرانی بیشتر آشنا کنم.
One on the other side, so that as it moved a little bit, but I would have to go down in this tunnel and reset things every once in a while.
Oh, what an exciting job you have here.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
So then I came up to the University of Washington, applied physics laboratory, where I designed and built oceanographic research for the physical oceanographers research.
Excuse me, delivery line.
And I don't know what format you want. Is it going to be a question and answer? Or
No problem, Jim. I'm really glad to see your show and participate to your show. Please explain about your technique and your artwork.
Well, I have a lot of different techniques, but the unifying theme of all of this is that they start out as a transfer print. So it starts out with photography usually, and then the images are either several different images. In the case of this one, several different images are melded together in Photoshop. And in this case, we start out with the watercolor paper, and we paint with acrylic paint onto the watercolor paper, knowing what the image is going to be that's going to go on top of that. So complementary colors, paint, and then the image is transferred on. The transfer film is activated by alcohol, and so basically after the paint is dry, we're going to put a solution of alcohol and a little bit of a polymer on there, and then put it on, let it sit for a few minutes, peel that film off, and now the image is sitting on top of the painted paper. So at the end of the day, that's what you get. Now this is actually, the lanterns are from Disney World in Florida, and the background is a fabric from Polynesia. On a bark cloth.
Wow, look.
From a museum in Chicago.
Looks great. Would you like to explain another more for us?
Well, let's see. These are all paper. If we could transfer to.
Oh, sorry.
Transfer to one of these. This is a similar arrangement where there's a piece of acrylic plastic. It's coated with a polymer, activated with the alcohol, and then the image is transferred onto the back of the plastic. When that's dry, then we come in and with acrylic paints, and in this case gold leaf, pieces of gold leaf onto the back of that, and then finally a black opaque gesso behind that. And so now you're looking through the plastic, the acrylic sheet, at the image within layers of paint and then gold leaf behind it.
Yeah.
So
Looks
that's
great.
That's another.
Yes, of course. Anyone else that you'd like to explain?
Well, this is again onto the acrylic, but here instead of paint, we put the first image on and we let that dry. There's more a polymer on, activate that, and then put another print on behind it. So here you're actually looking at two pictures, one on top of each other, and then I guess a little bit of colored paper that was done on behind it. So,
Super. Thank you
Sure.
so much for
Right.
sharing with us. Thank you. Hello I am glad to see you. Please explain more about this show for us.
Great. Well, thank you for asking me. It's a very inclusive show of my husband's art that spans everything from a photograph next to my childhood home of an old welding shop to photos from Death Valley, one that shows the tracks of beetles. This particular photo is from the historic steam plant in Seattle. There are photos here from petroglyphs that include petroglyphs from Hawaii, structures in Valencia, Spain, also in Barcelona, an image of a mosaic from a Gaudi park, images from Disneyland, and of course Seattle. So there's a little bit of everything, and because of his engineering background, many of his works deal with more industrial objects, such as this lamp behind me. But he has a wide-ranging interest, so as I mentioned, from petroglyphs that are hundreds of years old to lanterns from Disneyland.
Okay, sounds great. It's really interesting because, you know, in industrial design, we could match the art with the industry. And it's really sounds great that you explain for us. And I wanted to ask you one question. How could you feeling about being a wife of the artist?
Oh, I feel very fortunate because our home is full of his art. The other thing, he also encourages me to be artistic, and one of his pieces of art here has a flower arrangement that I did. My art is a little more ephemeral. I tend to do floral arrangements, and I really enjoy it. I also have a science background, as he does, and I like learning about the process that he does, and matching up his creativity with the technical expertise he has.
It's really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
You're welcome.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
I really appreciate
Enjoy
it.
the show.
Thank you. Bye.
Who's in there? And
Do you want to explain more for us?
that was an image from a museum exhibit in Chicago, where they had taken a shape of a machine screw and made it out of plastic and then loaded it up with thousands and thousands of screws. And I just took a picture of it, used part of it, and repurposed it into this piece of abstract.
I hear that you have a background of engineering. Is effect to your art as well. Is it correct?
My background is in physics. I got my degree in physics, and I spent most of my time designing and building oceanographic research equipment at the University of Washington. So yeah, the engineering has influenced technology and technique, you know.
Sounds great.
But I have fun doing it.
Yeah, of course. Really good. Hey, Mac, would you please explain about this show a little more?
Sure, this is a partnership with Mercer Island Visual Arts League, or MIVAL, and we do 2-month exhibits. The first month we launch, we just have guests over for hors d'oeuvres and champagne. And then the second month, the artist comes in and does a demonstration of their art and talks about their creative process. All of the art is for sale, and a portion of it is donated to Mercer Island Youth and Family Services when they do sell. And that's what it's all about.
Really sounds great. Thank you so much. Thank you. This event is really important for the cultural life. Thank you.
Thank you.
بسیار بسیار سپاسگزارم که این ویدیو رو تماشا کردین. لطفاً اگه دوست دارین بیشتر با گالری ها و موزه های ایالت واشنگتن آشنا بشین، حتما کانال رو سابسکرایب کنین، ویدیو لایک کنین و نظرتون رو در رابطه با این ویدیو برای من کامنت بذارین. مجدداً از توجه شما سپاسگزارم. این گالری ها مسلماً فضای بسیار خوبی هست برای ارتباطات اجتماعی.